Oh, you guys did this for us. So I was going to say thanks for having us here. I mean, we didn't know what to expect, but this is beyond our expectations. You guys went all out. So thanks for taking the time to talk to us. So I got a few questions for you guys. Cara, were you Drummer is obviously the MVP of The Expanse. I mean, she's a fan favorite character, and I think that's a testament to like how well the character is written, but also your performance. Was it always planned to have you in the show for as long as you were, or is that something that evolved?
It evolved, yeah. No, thanks for asking. Because I was actually hired as a guest star.
Really?
Yeah, so they're like, we're gonna like try to combine these characters from the books and see how it works. And I was like, oh, I want it to work, because I was a big fan of season 1 before I had auditioned for it. So yeah, the fact that I got to keep telling the story. And now here have my own video game. It's amazing. It's pretty cool. It's a dream come true, more than I could have ever dreamed. To be honest, it's insane.
So that was another question. Is Drummer is a culmination of so many characters and personalities from the book. How difficult was that for you to kind of try to mesh all those into like one singular character?
It was an extraordinary challenge. Yeah, I definitely read the source material. I love the books. I think the way that every different piece of media tells this story is so beautiful and so complementary. So yeah, read the books. My job was just to like basically cherry pick the coolest aspects of each of the characters and try to synthesize that and make it real, make it human, put it all into one, make it as authentic as I could. Huge challenge. Definitely, it's a rare and wonderful task as an artist to be presented with this beautiful material and this extraordinarily complex work to do. So yeah.
How long did you spend like developing the voice? Because you have a very like it's very iconic, like the way you speak in the show. Was that something that evolved as well, or did you spend a lot of time trying to nail that down?
Well, you gotta whatever you shoot on day 1 establishes. You have to stick with that. So I actually had watched season 1 in its entirety as a fan, and then I found out actually just a couple of weeks after I had finished watching it that I would be auditioning for the show. So I went back and studied Jared Harris's dialect work and auditioned with the accent. And the casting director was a bit like, what are you doing? Like, I don't think other people are doing that. And she was like, can you do a bit less? And I was like, nah. And I actually went in, I did the audition with that makeup too. Really? I just had this like, I saw her as part of the world. And I was so happy that other people felt the same way.
So how did you feel when you had the chance to like kind of step back into Drummer for this game?
It was great. It was, we see Drummer become just harder and harder and harder over the course of the series, and so to have this chance to take a step back in time and tell the story of how maybe she got that way is a gift. So to be able to show a sort of a more vulnerable, more open, actually still Drummer, yeah, but there's these glimmers of who she was, you know.
For sure. And then I guess a question for you: what made you guys decide to go with The Expanse for Telltale's comeback?
So Telltale is known for kind of these gray area choices, and The Expanse is filled with those things. So, I think there are members of the team that were huge Expanse nerds, and so talking about all these potential things, we wanted to look at, the best that we could find out there. And, in sci-fi, The Expanse is like amazing. Like if you look at their Rotten Tomatoes scores, they're insane. And for a good reason. They're great shows. So we wanted to make sure that we could have something that had a solid foundation, had great world building, and allowed us to jump in and create these really interesting moments for players so that they felt like they were playing an episode of The Expanse. Mm-hmm.
So, the old games were really popular. What was some criticism that you guys maybe faced in the past, and what was really important for you to absolutely just nail this time for the comeback?
Yeah, so I think things that were really important to us were stuff like the facial performance, right? We wanted to make sure that when we have someone like Cara G who has this great range and ability, that comes through, right? You have to get this. You have to, otherwise
put this in your game.
But have to get the drummer face in, because if you don't have that, then it feels less authentic to what the show is, right? And if our goal is to make something that feels like it's part of the universe, then you have to do that. So that is very important to us. having mechanics like the zero-G exploration, very important to us, because it gets away from here's this small room that you click on a couple of things. It's like here's an entire area to explore, and you're floating and rotating and using mag boots to walk on the ceiling, and that you can still, it's not just gameplay for gameplay's sake. It is story, world building, putting you in the fantasy of being a deep space scavenger. And you're getting opinions from your crew, so you're getting to know these people better as you're clicking on these items and talking with them and getting to know it. Like, that is, I think, very critical in everything that we do. Storytelling really matters, and gameplay that helps tell a story is like a big focus for us.
Yeah. I mean, the passion definitely shows through. I mean, the demo was great. So I guess a question for both of you: How involved were Ty and Daniel still with this project, if at all?
Ty, I don't think I told you this. He sent me an email a couple of weeks ago being like, I hope it was fun. I was like, yeah, it was rad.
It was great because I had to pitch to Cara and I had to pitch to Ty and Daniel at separate times. And I can't tell you how nerve-wracking that is, by the way, to be like, hey, come up with a cool idea that you think is interesting. Also, the people that made it, you got to give that to them and make sure that they're on board with it. Crazy amount of pressure, but they're very humble guys. Like, they're very chill. And so coming in when I was talking about the story and where we wanted to go with it, they were going along with it and providing little bits here and there, like, you could add this in here. I'm like, wow, that's freaking cool. So working with them was a great collaboration, and so we did that part. Then I had to pitch to her, and so this was...
and I would say, not humble or cool.
Yeah. Neither of those things. So I'm like, great, what am I going to do?
I was like, who are you and what do you got?
Yeah. So I'm like, cool, this is a great way to start this meeting.
Yeah.
But we did this over Zoom. Like, I had to reach out. We reached out to Cara and her agent, and we set up some time. And I walked her through it like a D&D session. So the story that you were playing, I'm like, okay, here's the situation.
And I'm like,
you're walking through.
at my parents' house, sitting at their dining
like
table. It's Christmas
sweater.
time.
Yeah.
I'm like, hi.
Yeah, but she was so nice throughout the whole thing. But I'm walking her through the story, and what was great was watching her reaction, going like, "Oh, I don't know what I would do in that situation." And so there's having those torturous moments of what am I going to do, and seeing her go through it. I'm like, okay, she's in. Like, she's enjoying.
I was in.
So that was like. After going through that whole thing, she was like, this is great. And so after that...
It was so fun. I wish that every person who plays the video game could just have Frost walking them through it as a storytelling experience. It was so cool. It was such a cool, imaginative, like you could feel the story just coming to life through your storytelling. So to be able to share that with people in the form of a video game is so rad.
Like you said, that's one of Telltale's definitely strong suits, is those like gray moral choices. So like, I mean, just in the demo, I'm over here on my computer like, oh god, I had to pause.
What do you pick? Yeah, it's hard.
For you, Cara, what is your favorite drummer moment? Like, what is the one moment that was like, yes, that's drummer? Like, what's the one scene or event?
It's hard because I don't want to spoil anything.
Well, no, it doesn't have to be from the game. It can be from the show.
Okay, I'll pick something from the show then, because that's out there in the world. Because there are several in the video game that are really, really good. I think probably one of the defining moments for drummer, you mentioned this in an interview earlier, is in that season 2 where she gets shot in the stomach and then she's like limping to safety. She grabs a gun and just pops the guys, and I'm like, yeah, that's pretty rad. Pretty sold on this woman.
That was a great moment. Okay, so 2 questions that you may or may not be able to answer. For the next game, can we get the churn with Amos?
The churn is like...
I'll answer that. Yes, absolutely, yes. 100% for sure. No problem.
And then I guess my final question, that you may not even know anything about it or be able to answer it, but is there any possibility for another property or show to finish up the last 3 books from Ty and Daniel?
Wouldn't that be a dream? Wouldn't that be a dream?
It definitely would.
I know. I feel like everyone is... We had such a... Every... First of all, this is the show that will not die.
Oh.
Right? It just keeps going and going and going. I'm going to be playing drummer until I'm like 100 years old. So who knows? We'll see. I wouldn't rule anything out.
I think if any story deserves it, it's this one. But I mean, just the show and the game, it's exciting just to have more Expanse content. I mean, I've been nerding out the whole time, but it's been amazing. That's all my questions. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us, and this has been amazing. Thank you so much.
Thanks, man.
Thank you,
Yeah.
man. Yeah, it was great.
It was great meeting you.
Mickey,
Thank
thank
you.
you. That's fun.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Awesome.